Welcome back. This is the debate on the Premier League preview show. Today we are asking a very simple question. Can Mikel Arteta get the best out of Kai Havertz? Can Mikel Arteta get the best out of Kai Havertz? Kai Havertz has struggled since he switched from Chelsea to Arsenal. The goals haven't been coming. The performances look a little dodgy, and some fans believe it is time to permanently put him on the bench so Arsenal can move on to big things. Yeah.
Yeah, he can. Kai Havertz has moved from the Bundesliga. He came in as a youngster, in my opinion, with a bit of experience. He was leading Leverkusen's line as a number 10, as a number 9 in some games, and you realize that his best position is down in the middle or outright. But what's happened in the Premier League is he's come into a league where it's about strength and pace, and he's not the strongest or the fastest.
Okay.
So his technical ability is what he has to rely on, and he hasn't had a bit of a good run of form to actually show that. At Chelsea, we saw that in games where he was the false 9 or out on the right, he was showing some elements of good traits that Chelsea could benefit from. At Arsenal, what's the problem is Arsenal actually have a number 9, so he's not needed there.
Okay.
What Arteta can do is force him to play as a 10-8. So he's playing as a number 10 when they are in offensive transitions. Even when they're defending, he could add to the pressing, because that's one of his best traits. He's good at pressing. He understands the press, and he knows how to force people into errors. He actually wins his interceptions and winning of ball is quite easy for him. So Arteta needs to put him closer to his number 9 to get the best out of him. And in defensive transitions, if it's 3 in the middle, he might want to not force him to drop too deep, but force him to actually push up and then turn the midfield into 2. But then that might shortchange them in terms of what Odegaard can do. And maybe they have to think around that. But certainly Arteta is the kind of man that likes to tweak stuff and play around with his tactics, and it will certainly benefit Kai Havertz.
Okay, all right. Sydney, can it be done? The impossible job, some people call it.
Well, if you ask me my 2 cents, just bring this whole Kai Havertz experiment. Just bring it. The guy, we have seen him at Chelsea. I mean, we know that the talent is there. We saw him at Leverkusen. We have been seeing him for the German national team. But sometimes some leagues are just not meant for some players. He has the technical ability, as Yao has rightly alluded to. We have seen him. He was scoring goals for fun in Germany at a point. But it's not worth what Arteta is trying to do, because Arsenal have a settled way of playing. They had a way of playing that endeared them to their fans last season, that pushed them, catapulted them almost to the zenith of the Premier League. It just needed to beef that team up. Just plug in certain holes, fill in certain gaps. Xhaka went, put in a like for like. Why do you go through the stress of trying to reinvent your way of playing just for one player? I don't see, because the typical way Arsenal are playing, this 4-3-3 formation. Havertz, as he has said, he's not going to be the number 9 in this team.
Okay.
He's not going to be a winger in this team. The only position you might say he can fill in is the Xhaka role, and he can't play like Xhaka used to play. So why don't you just keep Declan Rice there, Partey anchoring the midfield? I don't think they are better number 6s in the league than Partey.
Okay.
And you have Odegaard on the other side. You have a very solid team. So him coming in Arsenal was a bit of a surprise for me in the first place, because I didn't see where he was fitting in, but I was willing to see what Arteta had in store for him, what the plans he had in mind for him. And he has come. We have seen him in certain games, and I don't think I can point any particular game where he has really impressed. I mean, there have been flashes, as every good player will have flashes. You can't be paid 200,000 pounds, and we could have a flash of brilliance here and there. But you need more than flashes to kind of impose yourself and demand a place in this team. And this is a team that's on the up, and sometimes managers try to do more than themselves, and you end up just selling the whole project. And I think that's what they're trying to do here. You have a settled way of playing. You have players who are buying into it. Why do you complicate things for yourself by bringing this guy? It's an expensive buy, which means he will demand to play.
£65 million.
Yeah.
You might say Arteta has just done Mason Mount there.
He would demand to play. And you know, he doesn't have a ready place for him in the team. So, well, I'm still willing to give him a bit of latitude to see what will happen. But if you're up to me, let's bring this project and put in Fabio Vieira, excellent player. He can play that Xhaka role. We have Emil Smith Rowe, excellent player. He can play also there as well. So you can pair these guys up. And these are people, I remember, was it the Fulham game when Fabio Vieira came on? He changed the game. And he did it playing from that same place. He created a goal, I think gave an assist, created the penalty, and he just turned the game upside down. Havertz hasn't had that impact. Never. Even in Chelsea, he hasn't had that impact.
I see.
And he was there for about 3 seasons. This is his 4th season in the Premier League. And he's yet to really show us anything coming even near, even in the same environment as to what he was showing at Leverkusen. So I would say, I mean, let's put him on the bench. We are going for the league. You have bigger ambitions than to worry about these niggling things. So play the strongest players. And I don't think currently Havertz is part of the strongest players at Arsenal.
Yeah, you wanted to say something.
Well, you realize that this is a young player that has brought something to the Premier League, to Chelsea. He literally won them the Champions League.
He scored the goal in the final.
Yes,
I mean,
and you realize that his role in that game was to just disrupt how they were playing, get the ball, and it was a fast break, and he did the necessary thing.
Strangely enough, it was Mason Mount who assisted him that day. Imagine.
Yes, exactly. And another thing with Kai Havertz is that, look, he's got elements of Ozil, and he reads the space so well, like Müller. So there are things that Arteta can do that can bring the best out of him. And you can play him just in behind the midfield and between the midfield and the defense, and you enjoy him.
But won't that complicate the shape?
Experience.
Because, I mean, there's Rice and Partey, there's Jorginho, there's Fabio Vieira. Now, if you're saying, and Odegaard, most importantly.
So you realize that Odegaard, actually, I think his better place to be is on the left of the midfield three.
On the left?
Not on the right. Because as a left-footed player, you realize that your passes are always going to go towards the right side. And that would limit him. He'll always look to play the ball into Saka. And it's quite easy to read. You move him to the left side, he has the option of Martinelli. He's got the option of Jesus. Then he's got the option of Saka. That works better for Arsenal. But with Kai Havertz on the right, it gives Odegaard that freedom to do more. And that's what Arteta must explore so that he can get the best out of Kai Havertz and win the Premier League.
Interesting, Sydney. So, I was calling for a tactical switch. But the question I would counter with is, so at whose expense?
Exactly, at whose expense? And even let's ask this question. He has mentioned that Odegaard, due to where he's playing, he's kind of favoring Saka more. Saka over the past 2 seasons has just been a revelation. I mean, he's just gone on from strength to strength, and that has a large part to do with the fact that Odegaard is just right near to him. So you are now coming to kind of weaken your best attacker right now. You know, it's weakening in a way because you are taking him from where you're taking his major role, major support.
You're giving Odegaard options to pass. He needs those options because I'm a left-footed player. I've played in that role as well. You find that you're limited. You always look to the right. But if you're on the left, you have an array of options to pick from, and that's what can help Arsenal.
So assuming you have to pick Arsenal's midfield, which midfield mix would you go for?
Declan Rice.
At the base?
At the base. Odegaard on the left CM. And then Kai Havertz on the right, RCM. But then Havertz's job is really, he's playing as a second striker, as a number 10. He will join Jesus and assist in the press when they lose the ball. But then he's not going to go beyond the center circle. I don't want him getting involved in defensive transitions because then you lose the ability, his technical ability to help on transitions.
So from your shape, it means that Thomas Partey is the one who misses out.
Thomas Partey is playing my right back. What do you mean? Because then what that means is that I can force Odegaard and Kai Havertz to move forward. Then Partey just joins in. Forget about Zinchenko. He's not a midfielder. He can't do it like Partey and Rice would do in the middle.
Interesting thoughts. Sydney.
Partey stays at the base. We have Rice is one of the best, if you ask me, box-to-box players in the league. He's destructive up front. Defensively, he's a monster. We are not seeing the destructive capability of Rice because he's being limited, if you ask me, and being limited to what expense. I mean, if Rice was being given the chance to bombard up and down, we saw the way he took the goal against Chelsea. That was a brilliant one-time finish there. We saw him coming into the box against United, grabbing the late winner over there. So Rice, I think, and we have seen him scoring long ranges. We saw him at West Ham contributing up front. He has a lot to give up front, and you also know he's a monster at the back. So I think he should have a bit of a freer role, and you should leave Partey at the base to control things and leave Odegaard where he is. I mean, he has gone leaps and bounds in that position. This last season, we're talking about Odegaard as player of the season because of the role he was playing. You're going to put him, pluck him from there, take him somewhere he's not familiar with. Although he can't get familiar with this, he hasn't really played there for even Norway. He doesn't even play on the left. He's always stationed basically in that pocket at the right hand side. So leave him there, let him create his magic over there, and change other pieces and keep Havertz on the bench. Most importantly,
I believe with Partey at right back, it allows the midfield to have a bit more freedom, and you want to have your best players on the field. You don't want to be limited because of a certain centre back or right back. And Arsenal have got the players to play 3 at the back when they transition. So it's one of those things. You might disagree, but Kai Havertz is in the hands of the best manager to bring the best out of him.
I see. So you believe there's something in there and it can work.
Yeah, Arteta,
giving time.
I believe at the end of the season, someone here will eat his words.
well,
Sydney, you think it will not work?
It won't work.
So for you, that experiment needs to be binned.
No, off to Germany with him. I think Bayern Munich were showing some interest. Get it done as soon as possible.
10 assists guaranteed this year.
10 assists.
10
He
assists.
already played 10 games this season.
That is my point.
Struggling.
And he's not even playing in his best position. Put him where he deserves to be, and we will be here singing his praises.
Okay, we'll see how it plays out for the Kai Havertz fans. Like we asked, do you think Arteta can get the best of Kai Havertz? Well, Yao Frimpong seems to think so. Sydney Antonio says, no way, that is not happening. Kai Havertz will not get any better. And Mikel Arteta. Oh, man, all right.